CoachKoe here, Coaches Conversations, and our next guest is a lifelong hobby enthusiast, the lifeblood of the hobby, someone who's always in the trenches, whether it's in the DMs or the stories or, helping people get educated on certain subject matters. We've got Dave from Signed and Slabbed. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you inviting me to do this.
Of course, man. Talk to me about, how many nationals is this for you?
So I'll need to go back and check it, but I'm certain it's at least 10.
At least 10.
At least 10, and it's got to be 5 or 6 in a row now. But I've been, I've been to nationals all the way back as far as like Houston. Back in the last time they went to Anaheim, I was there. So I've been, it's got to be at least 10. It might be 12. I lost count.
It's been a while since the West Coast ones.
Oh yeah, yes, very long time since the West Coast.
Did you see the latest announcement?
I did not see the announcement.
We got breaking news.
I knew that there was some conversation about going to another city.
Breaking news, live at the National.
Okay.
Michigan.
Really?
Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan.
Wow.
2 years from now.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
So,
it's central.
My feelings about the National, and again, I've been to a bunch of different places, right? Yes, it can be repetitive to come to Chicago, but I think certainly you've been to a number of nationals now as well, same as I have. In the recent round of locations, I think we can all agree that the totality of the location, the amenities, meaning hotels, restaurants, etc., things around
accessibility
it,
from the
travel,
airport,
airports, all of that, and then I would say additionally things to do in the city. So at one of the previous nationals, I brought my wife and son, and
that's awesome.
I goofed around at the show 2-3 days, and then we also spent a couple days in and around Chicago doing things. So, I think that from that respect, Chicago sets the bar, and so if you want to put it on in your city, you know what the bar looks like, and you better come with it. And
you hear that, Detroit?
So Detroit and crew, you're on notice. Obviously, it's nice sometimes to visit other places, but we've heard complaints previously about Atlantic City. Yeah, we heard a lot of very fair complaints last year about Cleveland.
Yeah, I definitely think that they've heard that, and that's why we've made adjustments with like the 3 in a row in Chicago. Hopefully the Detroit one as well will be like a step. Yeah, if not above, like on par with Chicago. Chicago is definitely the standard for sure.
And look, there are groups of collectors and people in the hobby up in that area. So they live there. They know what they're working with, and they know what the expectation should be. Yeah. And so my hope is that they'll put on a show, right? Put out for your city. So I enjoy Chicago, so I don't necessarily get super excited about the other locations because even going to Detroit, it's fewer flight options for me. Yeah. But being centrally located, being in the middle of the country helps. Certainly, being up in the north side historically has helped. So
talk to me about how this show has evolved from the one you're seeing today. Yeah. From like your first ever national.
So, this. The ones that I remember originally were
even
just...
his booth is a huge evolution.
The ones that I remember originally were just this one hall, and it may not have even been the whole thing. And then over time, they sort of expanded to another hall, and then another hall. And, 2 years ago, and I guess maybe even right before that, when they started doing the Breaker Pavilion, like TriStar, the autographs and things for TriStar used to be where the Breaker Pavilion was. And then... last year or 2 years ago, the autograph area moved an entire hall section away. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And so I feel like there's no dead space in this national.
Not this time.
There's no dead space.
No.
I really feel like it might be big and like overwhelming, and like you might need like a few days to get to everything.
Yes.
But at no point am I like, oh, there's only that in that
Yeah,
space,
no,
right?
not
Like,
not at all.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that they've gotten better at segmenting out, right? So you know, I appreciate having the corporate groups
Yep.
together
Yep.
because
I feel like a lot of the vintage dealers are together as well.
yes, and some of that's
Yeah.
over the seniority
Yeah.
thing and how
Yeah.
that works, but yeah, I mean, I've in the times
Like, I
I've been
kind
to
of know what to look
Chicago,
for when you go certain places.
yes,
You know,
it
like
feels
there's a
to me
theme,
like
there's a
they were
thematic.
they've been more intentional
Yeah.
about trying to put some of those things together in
Yeah.
the right places, because you know, someone like me, I collect everything, so
Yeah.
I've like hit nearly every square inch of this thing. But I mean, I would tell you, even for someone like me, I mean, it is overwhelming how big this show is this year. You know, there is no chance. And I was, in fact, when I was talking to some people yesterday, I had to take a break in the afternoon. Like, my mind went into a fog. I couldn't focus because I had just had, you know, card and autograph like stimulation overload for a
crazy.
couple days. So I was like, I had to call a timeout. No, I mean, it's fantastic. There are tons of people here. I like.
Yeah,
did you
it's
see
nuts,
the
man.
Did you see the posts? Some of the posts this morning of like, I mean, the line.
the
getting
lines,
in
yeah, the
was like a
lines.
mile down
Yeah,
the road. Like,
yeah.
we're not making that up.
No,
It was easily a 12, 15-minute walk
If you
down
get
the road.
even remotely close to the convention center, the lineup, even like the traffic is just crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It's nuts. Talk to me about your own collecting journey. I mean, you're always, I don't want to call them obscure things because they're really not, but you're always collecting unique items. What are you currently collecting that you think, you know, maybe deserves a little more love, or like you're actually kind of happy that you're maybe isn't getting highlighted right now?
You know, my original collecting as a kid was a lot more set based and a little bit player driven.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit of a prospector when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of sets, and that, you know, the way cards were manufactured at that time, we didn't necessarily have all these inserts and other things. That was something that kind of evolved in the 90s.
Like, 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was a set collector and a little bit of a player collector. Then in the mid-90s, I started getting into autographs, and I went hard on that for kind of 10 years. That was really all I did. I didn't collect a lot of cards. But then the late 2000s, I started getting back into the cards. I enjoy the refractors. I like anything that's shiny.
Yeah, I think most people do.
You know,
Yeah.
and again, started doing sets of like the Topps Chrome football during
Very
that time.
cool.
And then, you know, obviously more recently, I'm a massive Mookie Betts collector. So
Yes.
I was running around the show trying to find that stuff, trying to connect with people.
Have you made any purchases for Mookie Betts cards today? Or this week?
I have bought. I think I ended up with 4, if I'm right. One of them I already had, but the other 3, 2 or 3 of them were new. And last night I bought one that I'd been looking for 3 years.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that must have been an incredible feeling.
Yeah. Well, and it was great. But then it really gave me a chance to take a deep breath and like the exhaustion set in of like, okay, I'm going home with a card that this is, you know, one of the only places that you can sometimes find things. And
I mean, there must be like an extreme level of fulfillment when that happens.
Oh,
though.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And I was with a group of people that knew about how
That's
long I'd
really
been
cool.
looking for it.
That's really cool.
Like, you know, they were almost more excited for me than probably I was showing at the time. And, you know, that part of the community of collecting really is real. Yeah. Right? And, like, it does
I mean, I've made, like, lifelong friends through the community.
Yeah,
my business partners from the community.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and it can be a little cliche to say it, but you know, when you're exchanging texts as you're walking around this thing with people, and you're sending in pictures of cards that you know that they'd be interested in, or you know they're looking for, and then you're trying to keep track of like what booth number it is, and you know, you get that text of like, you need to go, and like you're like sprinting across this thing.
I'm getting lost in the process because I mean, there's times where I beelined it somewhere and I get lost. Like I'm halfway there and I'm like, oh shit, like where am I now?
You know, where the hobby's kind of at, it can be very easy to get caught up in sort of the dollars and cents of it all and lose a real sense of like what's really at the heart of the collecting. You know? And so, you know, having friends like that are here that you only see them once a year or twice a year at a big show. Like I kind of only see you once or twice a year. We talk every week, but I see you here, so like that part of it is fun for me. And I think it is for that group. So
I feel like collecting and sports cards are, I mean, if not close to where they were pandemic times, you know, maybe even a little higher. Does that make you apprehensive? Like, are you, you know, like, are you still buying? Are you find you're selling a little bit more because you feel like there's maybe a little bit too much greed happening? Like talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so for the 90 days coming into this, I've been more of a seller. Part of that was to just have available funds, but part of it was also, you know, like you pointed out, of like, you know, when you look at some of the different price metrics, and again, I'm not
you're not like you're not a comper
and all that.
Are you a comper? Are you like a comper? You know, like
I am, but I recognize that, you know, comps exist within a range. It's not the last worst one that you can find.
Isn't it funny when you're like when you're buying? And when you're buying, it's always like the highest one that you can find.
Correct.
You're like, well, 2 weeks ago one did like $800. You're like, okay, but what about like the 3 that did $450? You know what I mean? Like, how does it not go both ways?
You have that, and then you have like but if it's graded, it's like, oh, this is high end for the grade, and you're like,
if this was a 10, that
you're
was
like,
my favorite too.
If
this was a 10, it would be this much. And I'm like, okay, well, it's raw. So if you want to take that leap and try to like that risk and get it graded, then that's cool. That would be awesome.
You know, and look, it's somebody that buys and sells to kind of flip some, but also is buying things that I really want to hold. The comp machine,
it's wild.
It can be frustrating, and you know, I'm just an attendee. But at other shows, I'm a dealer. I'm set up, and you know that it's frustrating from both sides because you go through all the effort sometimes to comp the cards. You put a price on it, and like I've noticed even this week, even when cards are priced properly, like in person like this,
there's still like
the haggle is part of the game.
You have
to be ready for it from both sides.
You almost have to price accordingly, but like not enough that like it offends people. You know what I mean? Like that's where the range needs to be. What's the worst as a vendor? What is the worst like opening line, or what's the worst line someone can use on you?
You got room on that, bro? So like, first of all, you know, I'm not going to say how old I am, but I'm old enough to be most of the bros' dads. So like, I'm not your bro. I'm more like your dad's friend. But when you introduce yourself at the table as that, you're screaming, I'm not a collector. I'm here for the money. And as a dealer, like, I'm here for the money too. But that, you know, when you start that way, I just think it doesn't really lead to the right negotiation. And a point I was going to make about the comping too. I can't tell you how many deals I saw fall through over comps at less than 5%. So when you look at like someone's selling for 100, you want to buy it for 90, and like they won't budge to the middle. And it's like, guys, this is $5, and you've been talking to each other for
just
now for
22
minutes. Like, what are you doing?
That definitely, I mean, the value isn't really there. You know what I mean? Like the time it takes to save this $5 isn't there. Well, Dave, I really appreciate you jumping on here. Where can people follow you? Where can people send their Mookie Betts cards to? Let the people know. How can they find Dave? How can they ask him questions? How can they pick their brain?
So I'm active on Instagram at Signed and Slabbed, just like it sounds. I also have an eBay store where I list things. I've got my hat on today at Signed and Slabbed. I've tried to take the advice. I reply to pretty much everyone. So unless you're really a jerk, I will respond, and I'm happy to answer questions. I want to be part of the education part.
Yeah.
Everyone has plenty of options to figure out how much it's worth.
Yeah.
But maybe learn what it is, and you might discover it may be worth more to you than that dollar value that other people put on it.
I appreciate the sentiment, and that's like the perfect way to end this thing off. So thank you so much, brother.
Of course.
Cheers.